The Jaguars have fallen in overtime to the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Appreciate you tuning in after an absolutely brutal loss for the Jaguars. I'm not going to do the play-by-play on this one. The Bengals, they were more physical on both sides of the ball. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the Jaguars. They were going down like flies with injuries, and then Trevor Lawrence got his ankle stepped on by Walker Little, had to leave the game. He was playing really well in this one for the Jaguars offense, was driving the ball late in the game tied, immediately had to go back to the locker room, was listed as questionable to return with an ankle. Right after that, Brandon McManus misses a 48-yard field goal, which should be a gimme for McManus in that situation. A field goal that would have put the Jaguars up in that game. Of course, the Bengals, right after that, they get a 54-yarder of their own to go up 31-28. Beathard comes out as Trevor Lawrence is still in the locker room dealing with the ankle injury. Fumbles the football. You can't make this stuff up. Of course, Parker Washington's able to jump on it. Then the Jaguars drive down the field, get a field goal of their own. McManus ties it, gets a little redemption there, but obviously you cannot miss a 48-yarder in the fourth quarter if you're Brandon McManus. You get to overtime after that. The Jaguars are driving the ball once again with C.J. Beathard at quarterback. Then they get called holding on Anton Harrison on a bomb to Ridley that would have put the Jaguars inside the 5-yard line. This forces you to punt the ball. Can't stop Jake freaking Browning at all in this game. He drives the Bengals offense down the field. They get a field goal from Evan McPherson, 48-yarder. Of course, he makes a 48-yarder. Brandon McManus could not. Wins the football game for the Cincinnati Bengals, 34-31. Absolutely brutal loss for the Jaguars. They fall to 8-4 on the season. They're no longer, tied for the top of the AFC. They're still top the AFC South by one game right now. They're leading the Texans and Colts. The Colts are technically in second. They hold the tiebreaker with the Texans right now. But the Jaguars are 8-4. Both of those teams are 7-5. Christian Kirk injured his groin. Trey Herndon, concussion. Foley Fatukasi left the game. Gregory Jr. left the game. Walker Little dealt with a hamstring injury, left the game. I mean, my goodness, obviously, and Trevor Lawrence, the ankle injury. The Jaguars defense, they looked unprepared in this one on most snaps, and this is not just like looking at the results at the end of the play. Like pre-snap, they looked confused on a lot of plays. It was a banner day for Zach Taylor and the Bengals offense calling plays. The opposite, quite frankly, for Mike Caldwell. Outside of those wide receiver passes that the Jaguars snuffed out, and of course Josh Allen picked one of them off, Zach Taylor had Mike Caldwell in hell as a defensive play caller. It was probably the worst game we've seen from a Jaguars defense in over a year. I mean, it was ugly. It was really ugly for them. No tackling, no interior presence. Tyson Campbell returned in this game, and he was awful. Awful. They lined him in one-on-one coverage with Jamar Chase several times. T. Higgins got him as well. Gave up a huge touchdown to Jamar Chase down the sideline. Devon Hamilton returned and struggled. Are those guys not healthy? I'm not sure, because those should be two of your best players on the defensive side of the ball. They looked like they were unprepared in this game. Just awful stuff. Special teams was suspect for the Jaguars. Parker Washington muffed a punt. He did get it back, fortunately. He also did have a nice return on a kick. But Brandon McManus missing the field goal to go up in the fourth quarter, absolutely unacceptable. Logan Cook was not great on the punts today, not nearly as good as he usually is. The Jags offense, for the most part, they did the job, right? Like putting up 31 points. You're not going to complain about that. They were moving the ball pretty well with Trevor Lawrence out there. The receivers and Trevor Lawrence just could not connect on a few deep shots, right? You had a missed defensive pass interference early in the game. Jordan Battle was all over Calvin Ridley, was covering up his face, denying him the opportunity to catch the ball deep down the field. Then you had Trevor Lawrence drop a snap and then try to sling it out to Calvin Ridley. It was a wounded duck of a throw, but Calvin Ridley did get both hands on it, and you would have liked to seen him haul that in. Then you had a misconnection between Trevor Lawrence and Zay Jones deep down the field. It looked like Trevor overshot him at first, but then looking at that play again, I think that Zay Jones actually slowed up for whatever reason. I don't think he was able to keep his footing looking for the football. So it was just one of those days where a lot was working for the Jaguars offense from a passing game standpoint, but the deep shots were not connecting. And then you do get a deep shot connection from CJ Beathard to Calvin Ridley, and they call it back on an Anton Harrison holding call, which for me, it was close. It was very close. You hated to see it. I also hated trying to see the Jaguars attempt short yardage runs with the running backs just running straight up the gut. You know, when they would sneak the ball with Trevor Lawrence, that worked well. When Trevor Lawrence tried to go up over the top with the football, that worked well. But trying to run it with these running backs up the gut right now, you're just not getting any push from the offensive line, not getting any holes or creases for these guys to slip through. You're just banging your head against the wall over and over and over again. Very frustrating to watch. I do want to credit some guys individually for the Jaguars in this one. Trevor Lawrence was playing very well for them. Did get lucky with the Parker Washington touchdown grab. That probably should have been an interception by the Bengals. But overall, you know, Trevor Lawrence played very well for the Jags in this one. Looking at Evan Ingram, he had a huge game, 9 catches on 9 targets, you know, perfect there. 82 yards, a touchdown, his first of the year. Zay Jones made a bunch of plays despite not being able to make that one big play down the field. You got to credit Josh Allen on the defensive side of the ball with the interception, the sacks. I mean, he is the man. He now has 13 and a half sacks on the year. He has 2 forced fumbles. He has an interception. He is right there in the defensive player of the year race. I think he should be leading it. He should be very close to the top, if not leading it. And again, credit to Parker Washington catching a bunch of passes for the Jaguars. Hadn't caught a pass for the Jaguars yet as a rookie. Caught that touchdown. That was an unbelievable focus grab. You know, the defender got his hands on it. Parker Washington was able to go get it and keep his body in bounds in the back of the end zone. He was balling out with both quarterbacks. So a guy that I think you got him in the 6th round. I think you can feel really good about the direction that he's heading in for the Jaguars. But look, it all comes down to injuries, especially the Trevor Lawrence injury. Where are we at with the ankle? Word is that it's an ankle sprain. MRI coming tomorrow. We will find out more. Holding call ruins the Jaguars' chances to win in overtime. Again, it looked really close to me, very questionable. Obviously, Harrison did wrap around the pass rusher, but did he hold? Couldn't tell. Obviously questionable, but that's gonna be it. 34-31. The Jaguars fall at home in front of a great home crowd. The Jaguars have really struggled at home this year to bring the same physicality that you've seen from them away from the bank. Very frustrating stuff, but really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can check out genjag.com/shop, pick up some new Duval gear. We will be updating the Trevor Lawrence story and everything else coming out of this game in the coming days. Really appreciate y'all. Have a good one.